welcome back to the channel. I recently had some work done to the van. A couple weekends ago, it went in for some service work. I'd had my oil changed, my tires rotated, and I asked them to look at the brakes and just do a checkup to see what needed to be done. And it turned out there was some service that needed doing. The axle seal was on the rear was leaking, so that needed to be replaced. I also needed the brake calipers replaced. So I had that done, which is something that, as I mentioned before, I do my very best to stay on top of vehicle maintenance, particularly because that's a camper van. And when I am headed out into the middle of nowhere, I want to be sure that my vehicle is safe, that as much as possible, I'm not going to find myself stranded somewhere with a vehicle that doesn't work. So anyways, I had the work done, and it was done last weekend, and drove the van home from the shop, and it was fine. I picked it up on Sunday. They actually had it overnight. And then Monday I had a doctor's appointment in Campbell River, drove it there and drove it back, and it was fine until I was almost home. I was actually just turning onto the road to get to my place, and I started to hear, I actually thought the back passenger side tire was flat, because it was kind of this weird, I don't know how to describe it, crunching sound, thudding sound, weird sound. And if you've ever had a flat tire, there's that, it reminded me of that sound. So I stopped and got out to look. The tires were fully inflated, so I drove the rest of the way home, just a couple minutes, but it was not sounding good. So I thought, okay, well, that's weird. And I just parked it. Then the next day I took it out again just to see if that sound was still there. And sure enough, it was there. It was kind of a crunching, not a grinding sound, but kind of a crunching sound, and especially when I put my foot on the brakes. So I knew it was a brake problem. It really felt like it was on the passenger rear. So I called the shop and I said, yeah, this is happening. I'm really concerned. And they said, bring it in on Saturday. The more I got to thinking about it, the more I thought, I don't want to drive the 40 minutes into town. By the time I get into town and to the shop, it'll be about 40 minutes. And I don't really feel comfortable. I didn't feel safe driving it to them. I called BCAA. I have AMA, but it's also BCAA here. And I actually had the van towed to the garage. I'd called the garage and they said, yep, tow truck driver came to pick it up. And well, it was quite the sight seeing Vanuela up on the flatbed of the tow truck. The next day they called me to say it was ready, and one of my neighbors here was thankfully headed to town yesterday, and she said, I met her as I was heading out for my walk on Wednesday after work, and she said, well, I'm going into town. Do you want to ride? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So she gave me a ride into town, and I picked up the van. It's working great. It turned out that it was the calipers. Again, I am not technical, and if you are a mechanic, I apologize in advance. But it turned out there's this spring that's supposed to be attached with the calipers, and it had come off, and the calipers had slipped, and the rear passenger side had totally slipped off, and the driver's side had partially slipped off. So definitely an error on their part. When they were putting those suckers in, they made a mistake. This was not something that's obviously supposed to happen, and it was totally their error. And they didn't try to make excuses for it. They apologized for the inconvenience, and you know, I appreciate that. But we got the van back and it's fine now, so that's good. But it's just one of those things about living out as far as I do that you are always having to deal with. The fact that you can't, you know, everything is in town, which means that you are always having to find a way to get there and back when it comes to vehicles, right? Like, I live alone, and so yes, I have neighbors, but I hate inconveniencing other people. I hate having to rely on other people when it comes to something like this. You know, you can't just get a ride home from your mechanic shop, from your garage, when you drop your car off, when you live outside of town. That's not going to be a problem next time, because the garage near me that I would love to go to is finally getting a bay that's tall enough to take something like the ProMaster when it's up on the hoist, and they live close enough that they could give me a ride. So it's not going to be a problem going forward. However, there's been a few times since I've been on the island, because both locations I have been outside of town. And that is something to consider. So when you're looking for a spot for your tiny house, or to, you know, if you live alone and you're looking for a spot outside of town, just keep in mind that that's one of those things that you have to consider. But again, first world problems, and everything is figure outable. And we managed to figure it out, and the van is fine now. So now she's ready for some adventures. And there's a few little projects that I want to do with the van. I've ordered something that I'm going to do a video on installing. It's a little do-it-yourself sort of fix, because, well, you'll just have to wait and see what that is going to be like. My heart has been very sad for Zia, my friend Zia from Chasing the Moon RV. She lost Charlie just a little while ago, and then my friend Tracy, she just lost her pup as well. And my friend Jenny's pup is not doing that great, and it just makes me so sad, because you know, our furry friends, we are given them to care for such a short period of time, and they bring us so much love and joy. The exciting thing this week, the thing that I am just incredibly grateful for, is reaching 40,000 subscribers. Guys, just a couple of weeks ago, I reached 40,000 subscribers on the channel. But what's amazing to me is that when I look at my analytics, only about 50% of my viewers are subscribers. So that just makes me wonder, why? Why are the rest of the people watching not subscribed? I don't know. But I am so grateful to you guys for doing that, for subscribing, for commenting. I recognize your names every week, and I am so appreciative of that, and just so grateful, and honestly blown away that many of you would take the time to watch, to subscribe, to comment, to like. It just blows my mind, because this is just a little channel. I'm just a normal person living a normal life, who decided to share her journey, and never, ever thought that would happen. I know a few months ago, when I reached 3 million views accumulated over all of the videos on the channel, and 40,000 subscribers. What? It's awesome. So thanks, guys. You guys are amazing. I don't get political on the channel, but I am boycotting Loblaws for this month because of their price gouging. And what I've decided to do is, instead of heading to another big, huge conglomerate company like Walmart or anything like that, I've decided to support smaller local grocery stores. So like Thrifties and such. and quality foods and discovery foods around here, and farmers markets. So while that means that groceries will be a little bit more expensive, I think it's important to send a message that these big companies have been giving their CEOs and their executives huge bonuses. They've been making huge profits, and they've been gouging us. And the thing is, the farmers are the ones who are really suffering, because these huge companies now have the power to demand that the farmers sell at a lower price, but they don't pass those lower prices on to us as consumers. We end up paying the same or usually higher prices. The big companies are the ones making all the profits. The farmers are not, and certainly we are the ones paying the ultimate price at the cash register. So this month I am definitely on board with that. I'm willing to spend a few dollars more for my groceries. I'm certainly going to look for local produce and such, and yeah, shop my pantry and my freezer a little bit more to send a message, because I think it's important to send a message. Because when Galen Weston said that, yes, grocery prices are expensive, but people can eat cereal, I thought that was incredibly tone deaf and insulting, offensive, and really just ridiculous. Cereal. While he and his he and the executives and the shareholders are getting these huge payouts. Yeah, not for me. And you know what, guys? We can vote with our dollars. So that's what I choose to do. There, I am off my soapbox. I am on to something that is more pleasant, and that is heading out. It's not the sunniest day, but it's not raining, so I'm going to head out to the farmer's market and see what I can find. So guys, I hope you guys are doing well. Again, thank you so much for just being part of this community and being part of my family. I appreciate you so much. And please know that I never take your viewership for granted, and I look forward to your comments every single week. So like I always say, in a world where you can be anything, be kind, including to yourself. Thank you again. I love you, and I'll see you next time.
Through the valley comes a horseman, wild and free, tilting of the windmills, passing pushing the brave horse away. He is wild, but he is mellow. He is strong, but he is mellow. He is cruel, but
it's all good. Yeah.
It's good for like up to 2 weeks. And it just goes with that. So this is sesame, poppy seed, onion, and salt, and this is a garlic powder and salt.
I think I'll have one of the garlic ones.
Toi, il n'y a pas de problème. Le gars qui a baisse, c'est un gros problème. Rétention d'eau, tu vas voir. Thank you.